Inide seems to have caught a bit of attention once again with her latest album. She's dropped 3 albums now, this being her 3rd, obviously. Once again, seeing mixed responses to this new one here, Little Oblivions. I liked her last one actually. I thought her 2nd album was really promising. After her 1st album, Sprained Ankle, I remember not really liking that one. It was just too minimal and too restrained, I guess you could say. The vocals just didn't have a distinctness to them, but I think she broke free a little bit with her sophomore release, so I was obviously interested to see what we'd get with her 3rd album. Definitely the kind of artist that could go well over your head and just be like, not really into this, or she'd be the kind of artist that would completely resonate with you because of how depressing, I guess is the best word really, her songwriting can be, and how personal and honest. Honestly, this is a very honest album, which I know a lot of people out there who are looking for something to relate to attach to would find an album like this to be incredibly heartwarming in a weird way, or something that you can look to and think that speaks to me. And while I don't personally relate to this album on any level, I don't really buy into that idea in terms of what I look for in music anyway. I don't really look for albums that I relate to. I look for an album that offers an experience that is interesting and provides insight into someone's life that I can look at and think, wow, isn't that interesting? And I think this album does that. Certainly not blown away by this on any real level in terms of like singer-songwriters out there. I think her monotone delivery at times needs to break free a little bit. Although to be fair, as restrained and as held back as her voice is, and as really low-key her singing is, it actually kind of works in a lot of places. Usually I'd be coming on camera and saying, look guys, I think this singer just needs to have a bit more personality, needs to have more distinctness. And I think I would say that in places with Julien, but for the most part, I think her vocals really match the tone and match the atmosphere of the tracks and match the really downtrodden lyrics. I think instrumentals on tracks like Heatwave are engaging enough to keep me interested. I think the guitar playing and the guitar tones on many tracks as well as this one is very, very touching. I think tracks like Faith Healer have really interesting ideas to them in terms of the concept of the lyrical theme, looking for someone to just kind of really fix that just brokenness. And I think saying that word is really harsh, but I think a lot of her writing matches that. She views herself in such a negative way, which is really hard to stomach listening to. It's really sad to see someone just view themselves so negatively. And it does make me sad sometimes reading into some of these lyrics. Relative Fiction, really confusing track where she's battling this idea of, turning into this mean person just to kind of like, I don't know really, just battling with the idea of whether she should be tender or should be callous. Perhaps she is both on many occasions and doesn't really know how to balance those emotions, balance those feelings, which ends up pushing people away, which I think is the common theme of this album by the sounds of things, where she's constantly talking about how she pushes people away. Ringside being incredibly defeatist, where she's talking about this idea of how no one deserves a second chance, but she's had like so many at this point that she just cannot fathom how she deserves that. So it's one of those albums where you kind of got to read between the lines. Is she, I guess, displaying behaviors in a way that she can't control, that's pushing people away, making people feel worse? In that case, then what is she going to do to sort of fix that? And I don't think she really has an answer. The track Song in E is one of the more revealing tracks, where she's talking about how she basically wants this person to hurt her. She wants this person to come over and just like lay it on her and completely make her feel like the smallest person alive and make her feel like complete shit, basically. And, she'd rather that than have her, be left with herself on her own with her own thoughts. So it's almost like as if she's the reason that someone's been pushed away, and she wants it to be reversed so that she can have someone to blame. She wants the other person to put her through all the crap so she can look at them and be like, I want to blame you, but she can't because that hasn't happened. Super painful song, honestly. I think this is definitely the best track in terms of vocal performance and just the lyrical theme. I think this is incredibly relatable for a lot of people out there. And you know, again, I don't think I personally relate to that, but it doesn't stop the song being any less powerful just for how great the piano sounds on this one. The vocals, again, I think a vocal performance really sells this track more so than many other tracks on the album. The issue lies though, well, in a few different things on this album, but one of the issues I found was where you have some tracks, and there's a good few examples of this, by the way, where the vocals and the instrumentals suddenly start to swell and build up, and you look at the runtime of the track and there's like 30 seconds left, and you get this great little section of a song that comes right at the end and then it burns out. And I just don't know why she chooses to do that. Faith Healer does this, Repeats does this, Crying Wolf does it with the vocals, where the vocals really start to blossom and I'm feeling like I'm connecting to her more so than any other place on the album, and then the track bloody ends. Why do you do that? I'm just a bit pissed that it does this, but I think, you know, if these tracks were extended a little bit more, or maybe even just build them up earlier in the song so it's not like 30 seconds left, then I think I would have been really raving about this album. But in the end, I think it just ends up being pretty good. Like, lyrically, it is incredibly revealing, incredibly honest and heartbreaking. But I don't think that's enough to really completely win me over. I think it's pretty clear that she has a Phoebe Bridgers influence though. I mean, this album in a lot of ways reminded me of Punisher. And while I don't think this album has any of the major highlights that Punisher has in, you know, Kyoto or I Know the End, but I think this album is just more consistent, and I think the vocals are just a little bit more compelling and the instrumentals aren't quite as minimalist. But I do think, you know, if you like Punisher, or if you like this, then you're gonna like the other. I'm surprised to see that people would like one and think the other is bad or anything like that. That does shock me. They both write incredibly similar music in the sense that it's very depressing, revealing, honest, heartbreaking, and they have very similar vocal tones as well. So yeah, I mean, I think I like this one just slightly more, but even without that comparison, I think there's still some room to grow. I think she should break free with her vocals a little bit. Try and just let them soar. I think she has a good voice, but I don't think you'd know how good her voice was listening to this album. I think the best is yet to come. And get a bit more daring and ballsy with the instrumentals. So many of these tracks are so similar in how they sound that I think if I were to just click a random track in maybe a month's time, I wouldn't be able to name it because I'd probably think it was one of the other songs. It's kind of weird. I do think there just needs to be a little bit more variety in the track listing here. But yeah, again, I think Julien's still early in her career. There's still room to grow. There's a great album somewhere, I think, from her. I just don't think she's quite there yet. 6 out of 10, definitely good. I think this is solid. But, you know, again, I think it has flaws. And I think there's just a bit of room to grow. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know this has been a bit of a divisive album. I'm seeing some really wild negative reviews and some really wildly positive reviews. So, you know, maybe you're somewhere in the middle. Let me know. But if you do like it, tell me anyway. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Lots of reviews, lots of videos on the way. Tell me what I should review next as well. And that's it. Goodbye. Have a good day. Have a good day. And goodbye.